Tuples in C#. Tuples are not that new. They have been with us for a long time. But since I have seen some flaws in some developers' knowledge, I want to emphasize on tuples in this clip again. Let's have a look. What is a tuple? Tuple means a data structure which may consist of multiple parts. That's all. The rest of the explanation is just for you to read from your screen. I will show you in action. Let's have a look. See, something like this. A student needs to have 3 parts. Name, job, for example, or something like that. Country. So it would be an object consist of 3 parts. Very easy. Okay. How can we create a tuple? Like this in C#. See? Very easy. Type doesn't matter. Can be anything. So this is the way that we can have or we can do by parentheses. This way also is using parentheses, but we mention the types like this. C# developers are so evangelist about the types. So if you are worried about the types, you can mention the type like this. Then the values should follow the type that you already mentioned here. The next is another way, using create like this. Tuple.create and then all the parts that you want to have. Very easy. Another thing is having access to an element inside a tuple. For example, I have defined developer and then I need the name part. So I can say item 1, or for job I can say item 2. The rest would follow the same way. If you want to change the value of a tuple element, you can do something like this. The item 1 is 5. I have changed it to 1, like this. Can we have nested tuples? Yes, we can. See? The third part is the marks of the student, for example. So again, I said tuple create and then list of the marks. Okay, that's all. So now we jump to Visual Studio and we'll try to do these things in action. Please have a look. This is the first one. The simplest way to define a tuple like this. Person with 3 parts. Very easy. So when I say console.writeLine person, we will see something like this. See? Exactly like what I have defined. Very easy. I will comment this part out and will uncomment the second part. See? I have defined the type, the data type of each item element like this, following the things that I have shown in the PowerPoint. See? A string, a string, a string. So I need to have 3 string here. So let's change something. Let's do something idiotic. Wrong. It can't be an integer. Here I said a string. So I should bring the country as a string back. Next one. Using tuple.create like this. the result would be the same. Let's see. Yes, the result would be the same. So this part also should be comment. And using and having access to tuple element. So for this one, I need this line also. So I said developer.item1. Let's see. Yes, the first element is name, which is Ali. That's all. I do not need this anymore. Let's have a look at this. The first item is 5. I have changed it to 1, and then I want to print it in the console. Yes, it works. But let me tell you something. It is a simple warning here. Have a look at this. Tuple.create. Something like this. Let me decrease the number of elements. Okay. And now I want to change the developer dot item1 to something different, anything. Wrong, I can't. When you use tuple.create, your tuple would be read only, so you can't change any item. Please consider this issue to not to face any problem later. Another thing, tuple in tuple, like what I have shown you in the presentation. See? A student with marks, tuple.create name, family, marks, list of marks. So if I want to print this, you will see something like this. Yes, see? Name, family, list of marks. This one also is very easy. Another thing, are we able to use a tuple as an method parameter? Yes. See, this method display tuple has an entry which is a tuple like this. Very easy. So sometimes if you're gonna deal with so many input parameters for a method, you can have something like this also. Another thing, can a tuple be a return type, return value for a method? Yes, like this. As you can see, the returns of this method is a tuple consists of a string, integer, integer. Let me tell you something about job interviews or assignments that you have to do to get a job. Sometimes for a method like this or something even more complicated, you are supposed to return 3 items, for example, for a method. So you can simply say, okay, I will create a class like this, for example. Method return something like this type, and then you can say I gonna have a string for example name, and then age, for example, and integer salary, something like this. Yes, you can do that, but sometimes they want to see how deep you are in terms of C# knowledge. So they would say, as long as you are able to use a tuple, why did you do that? So it can be a problem, and maybe sometimes they reject you. It happened to some of my friends. So be careful about these things. And it's sometimes refers to the way that a developer thinks. So you might say, even this way is better. But for some developers, especially pure C# developers, no. They would prefer to have something like this and use a tuple as a return type for a method. So please consider these things and know how to deal with such things. Another thing. Look at this. Sometimes it looks a little bit painful for some developers to say item 1, item 2, something like this. They would prefer to have a name. You can see, you can assign a name to each part like this. See, subject, price for each course. Then instead of item 1, item 2, such things, you can say, let me print subject, price. Okay? So this way would be a little bit cleaner when you're gonna deal with tuples. Another thing. To define tuples, you can do something like this also. You can say tuple, integer, tuple name, new, and then you can assign the value. It would be kind of the same as what we do and what I explained already, but if you want to purely use tuple name, you can use this way also. And then when you want to have access, again, you can define and then have access by item 1, item 2 like before. Okay, that's finished at the moment. Please let me know if you need something else or if something is not clear in the comments, then I will try to explain more. Thank you so much and bye.